What's up, guys? Today we will be comparing the Galaxy S22 Ultra to the OnePlus 7 Pro here. If you guys don't know, the OnePlus 7 Pro is my daily driver still. Now I'm currently in the process of upgrading, so I've been using the S22 Ultra, the Pixel 6 Pro, really deciding between those two phones which one I want to go with. But I've still been using this phone, so this is a really hard phone to put down. It's just a classic phone at this point, almost flawless at this price point. So if you're considering getting a OnePlus 7 Pro, I say go for it. If anything, get the 7T Pro as well. That has the 855 Plus and 5G, so you're a little bit more modern. But let's go ahead and get into this comparison. S22 Ultra, the latest flagship, OnePlus 7 Pro, older flagship, $1,200 for the S22, and then you can find a 7 Pro for $250 to $300. Honestly, they're super cheap right now. And let's go ahead and get into it here with the build quality. So obviously the S22 Ultra, it looks newer. You put this phone, side by side, anyone is going to say this one looks better or newer. And the 7 Pro still looks good to me. It's still a premium feeling phone as well too. It's a glass and metal phone as well. I think the design has aged pretty well on here too. I don't think it looks like super old or outdated or anything like that. And the S22 Ultra is definitely much heavier as well, and it's slightly bigger device than the 7 Pro. So that's definitely something that you need to anticipate if you're planning on upgrading. And hardware wise, you do have your S Pen, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Both have stereo speakers on here, and the 7 Pro has a little trick up its sleeve to get this full screen design, which we'll talk about. It uses the little pop-up camera, so that's kind of like a little cool hardware thing with it. And this always gets anybody's attention if they see the little camera pop up. Everyone wants to know what kind of phone this is. So yeah, that's pretty much the hardware differences as far as the build quality. This does have an official IP rating, IP68, dust and water resistant. This does not have an official IP rating, but you can get it wet, no problem, so it's not going to break or anything like that. OnePlus just wanted to save money on the rating. Alright, so let's talk about the displays on these phones. The 7 Pro has the Fluid AMOLED display. It's a 90 Hz display, really one of the first phones to make high refresh rate go mainstream in my opinion. And it's HDR10 Plus at 6.67 inches. And you also have a 1440p resolution at 516 for the PPI. The S22 Ultra has the dynamic AMOLED display. It's 120 Hz HDR10 Plus, max brightness 1750 nits at 6.8 inches. And then it's 1440p, also 500 for the PPI. So basically, the Samsung display is better. It's got the 120 Hz. It's got the slightly better screen to body ratio, but I still prefer the OnePlus 7 Pro here. Even though it's got 90 Hz, it's still got the 1440p, and it still has the full screen display experience with no punch hole or no notch. So yes, the S22 Ultra does get brighter outdoors and all that good stuff, but overall I'm still choosing the 7 Pro 100%. If you're a hardcore person that watches a lot of movies and just a lot of videos, or really anything, just playing games on your phone, I still think this is a just futuristic display. Now the 7 Pro does curve way more dramatic than the S22 Ultra does. That's one thing that I noticed off the rip. But yeah, I absolutely love the 7 Pro's display. It's the reason why I've kept it so long. This is what smartphones will look like in maybe the next 3 years at least. By 3 years, they should have gotten rid of the punch hole and put it under the display. So this is what all phones will eventually look like. This is why this is such a classic, and timeless phone. But as far as display quality, yes, the S22 Ultra's got the more spec'd out display on paper. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the software. So One UI is definitely more feature packed than the Oxygen OS. This is running Android 12 with One UI 4.1. This is running Android 11 with the latest version of Oxygen OS, or Oxygen OS 11. Not the latest, but it's running OS 11. So software wise, like I said, the big thing here is the pen support that you're going to be getting. That's the upgrade you need to pay attention to. if you don't see yourself using the pen support, you may not need to upgrade, because that's really the main selling point here. The pen and being able to navigate with the pen, there's just a ton of features that Samsung throws in here for the pen. So if you're a digital artist, or you're somebody that just wants to navigate your phone with a stylus and have it built in, this is the phone to get. It's definitely super accurate. And also Samsung just has a lot of tricks up their sleeve with software, with the Samsung desktop support, secured folders, Dolby Atmos, reverse wireless power sharing, just a lot of stuff. We can go on and on about the One UI experience here. Oxygen OS is a little bit more simpler. It still has good customization and everything like that, and it's still very fast, and I really like Oxygen OS, just the layout and everything. So it really comes down to personal preference, like I said, but most people, they really like the One UI software. Also, let's talk about these specs a little bit more. You have the Snapdragon 855 on the 7 Pro, and then you have the Adreno 630 GPU on here as well too, or the 640, excuse me. And then this phone does not have any SD card support. You also have 128 gigs of internal storage, 6 gigs of RAM. Now, I got this version, but the version that you guys will be getting is the 256 and 8 gigs of RAM version of the 7 Pro. Those are the same price that I got for this one now. So, and the S22 Ultra, it does have the newest Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and then the Adreno 730, no SD card support, 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM for the base model, which I think, as always, is too low for the price that you're going to pay for this phone. It should be 256, 12 gigs. But as far as speed, I don't really notice that big of a speed difference. Let's see, because I didn't really feel the speed difference to me. Open up YouTube. Yeah, so about the same. The 120 Hertz does feel smooth. Now the 90 Hertz still feels smooth and silky, but the 120 Hertz just feels slightly faster, guys. Just slightly. Let's open up TikTok. You can see pretty much instant on the S22 Ultra here. And hold on, let's clear everything out, and let's try Subway. Boom. So you can see a tiny bit of a difference here. Just that slight snappier feeling, slightly smoother, I guess. So it's just a slight difference. Now, as far as gaming performance, the 7 Pro does a really good job with gaming as well too. It's actually able to play PUBG at that 90 frames, which is really impressive. But overall, the S22 Ultra is going to be better for gaming, because I played Fortnite on the 7 Pro and it just did not play that well. It just did not play that well. So the S22 Ultra, it'll be able to play everything at really good settings: Genshin Impact, Fortnite, Call of Duty, whatever you want to play. The OnePlus 7 Pro, check out the gaming test. It does a really great job. It just kind of struggled with Fortnite for some reason, but everything else it does a excellent job in. So definitely, when it comes to your gaming performance, you will be able to have still a great time with the 7 Pro. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the additional features, and we'll start off with the speakers. We're at max volume. Let's see which one sounds the best, starting with the 7 Pro. Yeah, the OnePlus 7 Pro actually hits a little bit harder with the kicks, but the overall sound is a little bit louder on the S22 Ultra. I think I would go, it just sounds a little bit more fuller on the S22 Ultra. Let's turn Dolby Atmos off. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, so there goes the kick. So yeah, it just overall just sounds a little bit better on the S22 Ultra. Yeah, definitely. It definitely has a louder, fuller sound. Now, both of these phones have very nice fingerprint scanners. The 7 Pro does a really great job with the fingerprint scanner, but it feels like, I don't know, it feels like the 7 Pros is a little bit, well, no. It might just be the animation. Yeah, they're both pretty much instant, but I don't know why the 7 Pro kind of feels like more easier, or yeah, I don't know, but they both are extremely fast. They both have NFC as well too. Now here's something that may or may not bother you. The S22 Ultra has wireless charging and the 7 Pro does not, so definitely take that into consideration. You do not have any type of wireless charging on the 7 Pro. Now for the cameras, the S22 Ultra does have a crazy beefy setup. It's got a 108 megapixel lens. It's got a 10 megapixel periscope telephoto lens, 10 megapixel telephoto lens, 12 megapixel ultra wide. It does have a macro mode. You can shoot in 8K 24, and then you have a 40 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60, and it's even able to go up to the 100 times zoom here as well too. So just crazy camera specs for the S22 Ultra. The OnePlus 7 Pro, it has a triple camera setup, and it's got a 48 megapixel standard, 8 megapixel telephoto, then a 16 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 60 with a 16 megapixel pop-up selfie that shoots in 1080p. So let's go ahead and check out those side-by-side stills and video. Be sure to let me know, what do you guys think about the image quality? The video on the 7 Pro. The S22 Ultra. Alright, lastly, let's go ahead and talk about battery life. So you have a 5,000 milliamp battery on the S22 Ultra, and on the 7 Pro you do have a 4,000 milliamp battery. Basically the battery setup is just better overall. On the S22 Ultra, it's got 45 watt charging versus the 30 watt charging on the 7 Pro, and it's also got wireless charging, which the 7 Pro does not have, and it also has reverse wireless charging, which basically means that I can charge up any device that I want with the S22 Ultra. So you're gonna get better screen on time, definitely with the S22 Ultra. So you will get you know, better battery life. The 7 Pro does pretty decent. You're able to get all day battery life with this phone. I've never struggled to get all day battery life with this phone, so that's not an issue. You just will get more battery life on this one. So be sure to let me know, what do you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one.